even beyond the New York Daily News Traitors front page, the nation's editorial pages on this subject are just as off the charts. For example, here's the Concord Monitor from New Hampshire. The Republican senators who wrote an open letter to Iran this week trying to undermine President Obama's negotiations, quote, are playing a political game dangerously out of bounds. If the open letter to Iran represents the path forward for U.S. foreign policy, chaos is the destination. It is simply stunning, they write, that New Hampshire Senator Kelly Ayotte and 46 other senators can't see that. Unlike the thousands of other times Senator Ayotte has signed her name, she will remember this signature. How could she forget? It's not every day that a United States senator attempts to undermine foreign policy and weaken the nation in one cursive swoop. That's Kelly Ayotte's hometown paper. Here's the Courier-Journal in Mitch McConnell's home state of Kentucky. They lead their editorial rather bluntly. Has Congress gone crazy? That's what many U.S. observers and much of the world must be wondering after a group of rogue Republican senators opted to communicate directly by letter with the leaders of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Among the 47 senators signing the letter, Kentucky's Mitch McConnell, the new Senate Majority Leader, and Rand Paul, a first-term senator with presidential aspirations. So this is the paper calling out their two home state senators. Mr. McConnell took over the leadership post this year with a pledge to end dysfunction and return the Senate to a working body. That effort appears off to a poor start. And if Mr. Paul's signature represents his grasp of foreign policy, Republicans should be justifiably leery about him as a presidential nominee. Whatever the outcome of negotiations with Iran, the 47 senators have done immeasurable harm to their image and U.S. credibility in world affairs. It is regrettable that Kentucky's two senators were among them. Louisville Courier-Journal. Here's the headline in the Salt Lake City Tribune in Utah. Look at the headline. Utah senators increase risk of war. Senators Lee and Hatch join a foolish campaign. Quote, it will be up to history to judge whether the latest partisan stunt joined by Utah Senators Mike Lee and Orrin Hatch amounts to an act of end times warmongering or merely another bit of cringeworthy buffoonery on the global stage. Here's the Detroit Free Press. The Republicans who dispatched this letter have disgraced themselves and undermined the credibility of the nation whose Constitution they took an oath to uphold. Among the signatories of this letter are Senators Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, and Ted Cruz, all three potential 2016 presidential contenders. At minimum, signing such a letter should disqualify each man from holding the high office they seek to degrade. Here's the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. The letter sent Monday by 47 Republican senators to Iran was damaging to America's role in the world. The senators who signed the letter should be ashamed. Senator John McCain, who was one of the senators who signed this letter, now seems to be expressing some regret about having signed it. He told Greta Van Susteren on Fox News last night, quote, maybe that wasn't the best way to do that. Senator Bob Corker, who chairs the Foreign Relations Committee, he told reporters that he's surprised so many Republican senators signed on to this thing. He did not. Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, who also did not sign on to it, he said he did not think the letter would be helpful. Senator Susan Collins, who also did not sign on to this letter, she tells reporters now, quote, it did not seem to me to be appropriate for us to be writing the Ayatollah at this critical time during the negotiations.